Well, speaking of audience, of course, some of your fan base comes from
Fan base? I don't have any fans.
comes from the podcasting world. And of course, talking about being on the Raven Effect with the one and only Scotty Flamingo.
Yes, yes.
Speaking of which, Rich Bocchini would have been a fantastic sidekick to Scotty Flamingo.
Yeah, right.
So the question I'm going to talk to us about how you get into that with Raven, and what's your take on the, I guess I would call it, the world of podcasting.
So MLW, as you mentioned, so I'm the play-by-play guy for MLW, Major League Wrestling, and they've done podcasts for a long time. Raven wrestled in the original version of MLW at one point, and I got a call or text from Court Bauer, who runs MLW, and says, "Hey, we're bringing Raven over. He's going to be on our platform. Do you want to do it?" So, I was like, "Sure, why not?" And initially, I had just kind of gone into it to kind of get him on board with MLW, and then honestly, my plan was to kind of step aside. I was tired of podcasting. I was going through a lot of personal shit with the divorce and whatever. My head just wasn't there. After a couple of months of doing that, it might have been a month or two, Feeney came in, and things just kind of...
Ugh.
Right, fucking Feeney. But no, things just kind of coalesced, and things kind of came together there, and I started having a lot of fun with it. Scotty started having a lot more fun with it, and Feeney did too, and it's grown now into something that, at first I was just kind of doing to do it, and I actually, those guys are my friends now. I look forward to talking to them every week. We have a lot of fun. We bust each other's balls. Sometimes, we go off the reservation a little bit, but I think by and large, people can tell that we're just having fun. There's no real agenda. We don't sit down and say, "Oh, we're going to talk about this," or "We're going to talk about that." We just fucking go with it. And when I talk about authenticity, I think there's an authenticity there because it's real. It's probably not for everybody, but like I said, I consider those guys friends now. I look forward to our conversations every week, and Raven, for a guy that I've never met in person, he's been awesome to me. His certain times when I've been down and maybe not in the best spot. I don't want to say mentally like I'm going nuts, but maybe just where the divorce was getting, whatever, that type of stuff. He's been there. As I said, never met him. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know me anything, but he's been there. Call me if you need me, etc., etc. And Feeney can just go fuck himself because he's a proud boy, fascist supporting fucking prick. But no, Feeney's been a lot. I like Feeney. He's a good dude.
He's a Guns N' Roses cunt.
That's right. He's still. I was gonna make a Metallica joke, but you're drinking out of a Metallica mug. At least it's a Master of Puppets mug. I'll give you that.
Metallica rules.
Yeah, at least it's not like, "Hey, look at my Saint Anger mug." With my fucking steel with my steel pale snare drum.
One of the worst things about Saint Anger is, and I'm really going through the stress of it right now, is that I'm dealing with still trying to shift all the Christmas weight.
Sure. Yep.
And I have this one T-shirt. It's a Metallica Saint Anger shirt, but it's like it's made out of magical material, where you can wear it at any time, and it seems to make you look slim. So I won't throw it out. But sometimes if I happen to wear it out, you see that where people walk past you and they go,
"Well, you know what? You give it time, man. That's going to be like an ironic collector's item."
Yeah, it's quite disappointing. But is it kind of surreal to you to know that it's like, fuck, I've got to go talk to fucking Raven and get paid for it, or are you used to it now?
I'm kind of used to it. It's funny because when I was in college, university for all of our friends over there, they call it college here in the U.S. Yeah, why is that? You can say cunt over in the U.K. Over there, they go to university. Over here, it's college. You can't say cunt. What's going on?
Well, that's because what was it they call it? A community college in America?
Well, there's community college, and then there's college, which is also kind of university. But generally, like over here, a college is smaller than a university.
Yeah, well,
a university is a bunch of colleges, basically.
well, basically, the big deal is university, and the smaller version is college.
Okay. All right. Well, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. When I was in college, I had, like I said, had kind of not really been into wrestling for a couple of years. It was probably 96, maybe 97. I remember being down in the lobby of the dorm, and a couple of guys that I know that I'm still friends with, I walk by, hey, what are you guys doing? And they're sitting in the common room where nobody ever sat. And they're sitting there watching wrestling videotapes. I was like, oh, no shit. What's this? And it was ECW. It was very early ECW. And, for all I said about not liking nonsense, I loved ECW, at least early on, because it felt real. That was the big thing. It felt real. It felt authentic. It wasn't overacted. It wasn't stagey. Yeah, it was a lot of crass, whatever. But it was intended for, like, a quote-unquote adult audience. It wasn't meant for kids, right? And I think that's what I was saying before with, like, the Attitude Era. I would have been embarrassed to take, like, my 4-year-old kid or 8-year-old kid to go see something in the Attitude Era. Like, my dad used to take me to wrestling when I grew up. I wouldn't take an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old to go see some of that stuff because they don't really need to see some of that stuff at that point. But ECW, for an adult audience, I loved it. And Raven, I always thought Raven was cool. Never thought that I'd ever talk to him, know him at all, et cetera, et cetera. And 20 years later or whatever, here we are. It's just weird, I was never like the hugest Raven fan or anything like that, but he was somebody that I liked. So it is, it's just kind of funny that listen, Hughezy, the fact that I'm in wrestling in the first place still blows my mind. I never thought I would have anything to do with wrestling ever. I wanted to be a hockey announcer. That's what I did. I was a minor league hockey announcer. I wanted to be in the NHL. Never thought I'd do wrestling.
Yeah, I remember it was probably nearly a year or two ago when I interviewed Raven, and it was kind of surreal because one minute you're thinking, because I was a total mark for him back in the 90s.
Right.
To now I'm doing my fucking Norm Macdonald Smashing Pumpkins impression for him, and oh
think, man,
what the fuck's going on? And if you want to hear it, by the way, it goes,
sure,
because I think that Norm Macdonald looks like Billy Corgan, and the impression would be, what if they'd switched places in life? And it was like, despite of the rage I have, just like a rat in a cage over here,
Not bad. It's pretty good.